904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Now, your chance to win $1,000 with the ESPN 690 payroll payout.
Text the word MOVE to the number 70123 before 15 past the hour. That's MOVE.
Your next chance to win is at 5 p.m. This is a nationwide contest. Message and data rates apply. Get the complete rules now at ESPN690.com. Your favorite course, your favorite foursome, your favorite score. What's your Dream 18? We visit with the names you know to relive their favorite 18 holes of golf. It's the Dream 18 Show, presented by Florida Georgia Windows and Doors.
Hey, welcome into Davoli's House of Cards here on a Wednesday and our debut show of the Dream 18 Show. We got caught talking a little Jags draft there with the folks here at Davoli's House of Cards. So welcome in, talking sports. And for the first time ever, we debut this show before our Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 show. It's called the Dream 18 Show, and we'll give you a little bit of background about what this thing's all about, where we're going with it. And essentially for the next 12 Wednesdays, we're going to have some fun talking some golf. This will be a golf-centric show, so don't mean to scare you away if you don't like golf here in Jacksonville for the next hour. But it's more than golf. The Dream 18 was born for a bunch of different reasons: to promote golf here in the Northeast Florida area, to tell the stories, to promote youth golf. And we've got some storytelling that will now take place here with the Dream 18. We've kind of morphed it into a charity over the years. Again, try to promote golf in the area, which is an unbelievable area, golf in the Jacksonville, Florida zip code. And now we turn it into a little bit more of a storytelling mode in this radio show where you say, hey, what's your favorite round of golf? Simple question. What's your favorite round of golf? And we want your input, too, by the way. Hashtag Dream18. You could always call us as well, but we most likely will just get to it on the social media side of things. And it doesn't have to be your best score. It might be the best place you played. It might be the best set of buddies you played it with. It might be different circumstances. And so we'd like to share some of those with everybody. And we want your input and you to be connected to the show in that part. But one of the big parts of this show is we're going to visit with people that you likely know. Not every name you'll know, but they might have a really cool story, interesting story, and you'll know them soon enough. But the first guest today we have is Jim Furyk. You know him. He will likely be a Hall of Famer in the golf world, and he has some of the most incredible rounds of golf that the PGA Tour has ever seen, including a 59 and a 58. He's also won a U.S. Open. He's played on Ryder Cup teams, President Cup teams. He has had an unbelievable career. So we go blow by blow today with that special round of 58 back in 2016. So that's a little bit of a preview of what's to come. But we want to explain a little bit more about what this show's all about here in Episode 1. And myself, Brent Martineau, Casey Kurtz are going to bring you along for the ride here. And this really boils down to expanding our Dream 18 project that's existed since 2010. As I mentioned, we used to play, if you don't know much about the Dream 18, we used to play a hole in Jacksonville every weekend in the summer. So we played 18 different holes. We aired it on our TV side of things on CBS 47 and Fox 30. And we played with a celebrity. We played with a young player from the first tee. We played with a media member. We played with a golf pro usually at that particular course. We played a lot of different courses, a lot of different holes. We've played with the likes of Tom Coughlin and Tim Tebow and Urban Meyer and Artis Gilmore and you name it. We had a bunch of celebrities, Christian Laettner. I could go on and on. That was a lot of fun. That was kind of the motivation behind it. To tell the story of golf, promote golf. And that was coming out of the recession back in 2008, 2009. This is an unbelievable golf area. And we said, whoa, golf is really getting hammered right now coming out of the recession. So we wanted to promote the courses, public, resort courses, private courses, and tell the stories with celebrities and also promote youth golf. So that's kind of how this thing was born. Well, after about a handful of years, we ran out of celebrities. We ran out of holes and different ways to do it. We went, hardest holes and best stories and best holes and par threes. We played the gauntlet at TPC Sawgrass one year, 16, 17, and 18. And we kind of ran out of that, so we turned it into a charity golf tournament, which there are so many in Jacksonville. But we thought that was the best way to raise money for charities like the North Florida Junior Golf Foundation and also St. Michael's Soldiers. And there have been other recipients along the way, but those have been two of our base recipients. And now we've raised over $200,000 for them and other charities in the area. So we went from that to the last couple of years, a Dream18 discount card, which will help basically you, the golfer, the consumer in the area. You get discounted golf, and no better time to do that right now because golf is booming. Rates are the highest they've maybe ever been, even at the public courses. And you can get discounted golf by going to ActionSportsJacksDream18.com and purchase that. Well, here's the third leg of it. And how did it start? And, Casey, I want to bring you into this because you're a golfer. You study the game of golf. You do our picks on Action Sports Jacks. You do a lot of fantasy golf. And, well, the best part of golf is playing golf. Even though it's frustrating, the best part is playing, who you play with, where do you play, where do you want to go next, those crazy great rounds, those great shots. They don't always happen, but you remember them when they do.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think golf, I didn't play a lot of golf for a very long time. I played a lot of baseball, and then when I no longer played baseball, it turned out golf was a thing. And to that point, when I play golf, it's usually pretty ugly and pretty bad. I usually play out of the 18 holes, 14 of them or so are pretty bad. But then you hit 5 shots that make you come back, and that's why I've continued to come back as much as I can through college and still currently. And it's just something that I feel the need to get good at, even though that probably won't happen. But at the end of the day, as long as you're having fun, that's really what matters.
Yeah, so we didn't plan this, but we all have our favorite rounds of golf, and for different reasons. Well, ironically, my favorite round of golf, because it has to be, came on this day 7 years ago, Casey. And it was April 13, 2015, and I played Augusta National. And I had the chance to cover the Masters. And if you cover the Masters, you get a chance to put your name in a lottery to play the course on Monday after the tournament. The same setup as everybody who plays the Masters on Sunday. And, well, I won the lottery that year. I had been covering the Masters for a few years, and I won the lottery and drove back up. I actually didn't cover it on the weekend, but went back up to Augusta on Monday. And what I did is, if you can see it on the Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, I'll show you a little bit of a journal that I put together about that round of golf. I knew it was going to be the most special round I ever played, and so I said, you know what, I want to be able to tell my kids or grandkids or whatever that I played it. I want to be able to remember this round of golf. So I wrote blow by blow of what happened, the good shots, the bad shots, the walk, the pictures, the caddies, the group, the everything. And for obvious reasons, it's my favorite round of golf. But maybe my favorite part that I can say on that round of golf is I had an Uncrustable on Amen Corner, Casey.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, how many people could say they had an Uncrustable on Amen Corner?
Look, anytime we're talking food, I'm in. So Uncrustable clicked in my head. I'm sitting up a little more in the chair. But, yeah, that's a flex that you have that not many people have. The real question, though, what was the jelly situation? Grape or was it strawberry?
Grape, yeah.
Yeah, good call.
And really, so you go into Augusta like a player. They treat you like a player that day. You get a locker, right? Like VJ Singh's locker is right next to Tiger's locker. But I was amazed to see that they actually had, at Augusta National, they had snacks like Uncrustables. I'm like, I'm putting one of these in my bag, and I'm saving it for Amen Corner. And so, and by the way, I love Uncrustables.
Yeah,
so,
it's a quality
snack.
snack.
Them on the show, so it's unbelievable. Got to let that thing sit for an hour, and then it's unbelievable. So, anyway, the round was great. I know you're all wondering what I shoot. I shot 87. They play from – I'm a 9 handicap at that time and kind of still. And so I was pleased with the round. I made some bad shot. I hit some bad shots, but I also played pretty well overall, in my opinion. I think I could have done a little bit better, but I also could have done a bit worse. And what they do is you play from the member tees. You don't play from the back tees. So it's about 1,000 yards different. It's probably playing about 6,600 yards for the members, I think it is. And so it's not exactly how you see it on TV, but the pin locations are, and the greens are, and everything else. So Augusta National was obviously my favorite round for a lot of reasons. And one of the things I love going back to see, Casey, is I warmed up there, and I hit my first 3 shots I put in here. I said, shank, skull, dribble. Those are my first 3 warm-up shots, on the range.
There you go.
It's like, oh, that's great.
It's a
Here
good
we
start.
go. It's going to be a long day. Well, the other thing that came about from that day is I played with a few guys also in the media, and I had never met these folks. Well, now they've become friendly, especially two of them that I keep in touch with all the time, like Eric Adelson and Matt Lincoln. They both work in the state of Florida in the sports industry. And we talk all the time. We run into each other all the time and kind of got a couple new friends from playing Augusta National that day that I kind of keep in touch with, and we have that special moment. So I think that's what golf does. Give us your favorite round of golf, and that's how we're going to introduce this thing. Most weeks we'll talk a little bit about what's going on in the golf world during the week, but we wanted to at least give you a little bit of an introduction before we get to our conversation with Jim about what this show's all about.
Yeah, two things I want to mention here, the actual round and then the idea of a round. I'll get to that in a second, but the actual dream part of it, ironically, Brent, we haven't known each other super long, but you were there because it was just recently at TPC Sawgrass. I'm the type of person that I'm only playing golf if it's about $15 in that general range, so I don't play a lot of exciting and big-name courses. So where I play, there's usually dirt and not as much grass. So the idea that for some reason I got invited with you guys to play Sawgrass was pretty incredible. The things I'll take away from it, the first shot of the whole day on one, I hit it in the fairway. It was a good drive. At that moment, I bet you guys thought I was okay. I did not hit another drive in the fairway, but that's okay. Well, I guess I did on 6 because I did write this down. I don't have a whole journal like you do, but 6, 7, and 8 were good holes for me. I hit the fairway. I hit the green. On 6, it was me, you, John Bachman, and Marcel Robinson. We used my shot on 6 for the drive, and then I hit the green and made the putt. So 6 was the highlight hole. Obviously, the video on Twitter of me hitting the green on 17 was pretty exciting. And then on that would have been 15, the hole before, or 16, the hole before 17, I should say. I hit a ball in between 2 trees. That was a pretty great moment for me as well. So in terms of an actual round, that was it. But the other thing that I do want to mention up to that point is when I was a kid, I didn't play a lot of golf like I mentioned, but the idea of the Dream18 would have been I played a couple times in Valparaiso, Indiana, and the last time I remember was with my dad, my uncle, and my grandpa, who is now passed. He was member number 66 at Valparaiso Country Club. He was a member for a long time. So I don't really remember the round or even if I hit the ball straight at any point in time, but just that is something that I'll remember because my grandpa loved golf, played a lot of golf until he died. So that's something that I'll always remember, even though I don't necessarily remember the round.
Well, share your stories as well. Hashtag Dream18. I think that's what golf can be really all about. It's about playing the cool places, right? It's about shooting a great score and having a memorable moment or shot or eagle or hole-in-one or whatever it might be. But it's really about the people that you're around, too. And I'm always interested at that, even when we're interviewing our guests. Like, okay, is your favorite round going to be your favorite score? And, well, that's certainly not the case for me. Favorite round's Augusta National because I'll probably never play there again. But I think for a lot of people that also does get tied into their favorite score. I'll give you one other thing just as we kind of preview this and then get our conversation going with Jim Furyk in just a moment. I would really say outside of Augusta National, my favorite round is back at Wannamoisett Country Club. It's in East Providence, Rhode Island, a place called Rumford, Rhode Island. I'm from East Providence in that area. And that's where I started in golf as caddying. And when I was like 12, 13 years old at this, it was a country club, and it was a pretty nice club. And like we weren't members there or anything like that. I just caddied to make a little money. And so on Mondays, back then, I don't know if this is still the case with caddies, but you could play. And so I would play a little bit there, but I was like this little dude, right, and not very good. I had just started golf, and I was not a good player. And so you're hitting 3 woods and 3 woods and 3 woods and dribbles, and I don't even know my score. Well, about 10 years ago, I went back home and played that course for the first time in, probably 20 years, and actually had a terrific round. But it was just so cool to go back and play that course and say, oh, I can hit this with a 6-iron instead of a 3-wood now, based off what I had done previously at that course. And if you're wondering about Wannamoisett Country Club, and you might know that name, if you really pay attention to golf, the Northeast Amateur is a prestigious event on the amateur ranks, and that is played there, or was. I think it still is played there. But the likes of Luke Donald have won there in the Northeast Amateur in the past at Wannamoisett Country Club. So different reasons why you might have your favorite round of golf, hashtag Dream18. for that. All right, Casey, let's take a break. We are live at Davoli's House of Cards here in St. Johns County. We'll have our show coming up 3 to 6 p.m. Austin Lane will join us for that. But this is the debut show of the Dream18 show, and the most magical round of golf, arguably in the history of the PGA Tour, was done by Jim Furyk, who lives in the area. We revisit the 58 at TPC River Highlands when we come back on the Dream18 show on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert Forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly sunny, humidity increasing today. You'll notice it. Temperatures reach the low to mid-80s, inland upper 70s at the coast. Partly cloudy and dry tonight. Overnight, we drop down to the mid-60s. From the Action News Jax First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Garrett Beedenball.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds. Don't miss the buy one, get one free on wedding band event going on now through April 24th.
A proud sponsor of the Dream18 is Power Tee. Get at them at PowerTee.com because they make golf better. They provide an incredible hitting experience while you are on the range. You can find Power Tee at top facilities around the world, including St. Andrews. Locally, find it at Fleming Island Golf Club. I use it at Blue Sky Golf Club. I was down in Sarasota recently, and I found a location in Sarasota with Power Tee. All the information on how to get and where to find Power Tee is on their website at PowerTee.com, and make golf better.
Spring savings are popping at Beards Diamonds.
Going on now. Buy one, get one. It's back at Beards.
No other jewelry store in North Florida can match it.
Buy any band and get the other band free.
Yes, it's a buy one, get one free on wedding bands. Going on now and only at Beards Diamonds.
Beards has brought in cases of inventory with the latest styles from the hottest designers just for the sale.
It's the largest selection of men's and women's wedding bands in North Florida.
You can save thousands.
Buy any wedding band and get the other band free.
Free.
Going on now and only at Beards Diamonds.
If you're getting married soon or want to upgrade your wedding bands, now is the time during Beards Buy One, Get One sale.
Going on now. No other jewelry store in North Florida can match it.
Get the lowest prices in Jacksonville, guaranteed, at Beards Diamonds.
At the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
You know what's great about getting older? The toys are way cooler. Spring is here, and it's playtime.
Yeah.
And One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union, has slash loan rates across the board on all the toys. Motorcycles, jet skis, boats, RVs, ATVs, even golf carts. And it's fun and potentially dangerous. One-to-One Financial has the perfect loan to help you finance it. Check out our rock bottom rates and apply now at one-to-onefcu.org. Come out and play. Federally insured by NCUA.
Florida Georgia Windows and Doors is your home improvement specialist. They specialize in hurricane protections, vinyl siding, sunrooms, and of course, windows and doors. If you live in the Jacksonville or the wider Northeast Florida area and South Georgia areas, give Florida Georgia Windows and Doors a call for your next project. 904-641-7010. 904-641-7010. Florida Georgia Windows and Doors, the highest quality materials and installation around. Florida Georgia Windows and Doors, your home improvement specialists.
You're the one everyone looks to for answers. Come rain or shine, the job must get done, and you're the one who makes it happen. We get you, Jackie in Fresno, putting your employee safety first. And Manny in Chattanooga, whose local Granger team knows him by name. We're here for you and all the ones who get it done, with 24/7 customer support and access to product specialists to help you find what you need. Call, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
St. Michael's Soldiers is a grassroots effort to support the local military and their families, and is also a proud beneficiary of the Dream18 charities. St. Michael's Soldiers sends thousands of care packages to men and women overseas annually. They also host special events for Gold Star and Blue Star families in the Jacksonville area. Plus, they support first responders with their Homegrown Kindness Project. They also hold events like Rock the Box Charity Concert and Stuffing Stockings for Soldiers. Follow St. Michael's Soldiers on Facebook, Instagram, and at stmichaelsoldiers.org.
Do you know what people see when they Google you? Search engines don't always get it right. And when they're wrong, it's your reputation on the line. So what do you do when you don't agree with your search results? Call Reputation Defender at 800-401-6681. Reputation Defender is one of the most trusted names in online reputation repair. We have over a decade of experience in fixing people's search results, and we can help you too. Using cutting-edge approaches, Reputation Defender pushes unflattering information down to lower pages of your search results, where few people ever look. We also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, letting you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. You owe it to yourself to take control with Reputation Defender. Visit www.reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 for free advice on your situation. That's 800-401-6681.
Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe. You can watch us on CBS 47 and Fox 30. You can listen right here on ESPN 690. And you can subscribe to our YouTube and podcast, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Action Sports Jacks. Watch, listen, subscribe. We are live from Davoli's House of Cards. Brett Morton, Casey Kurtz, and we are always here on Wednesdays, 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. Well, we debut a show today called the Dream18 Show, sponsored by Florida Georgia Windows and Doors, and so we do it live from Davoli's as well. That will lead right into our 3 to 6 expanded local programming, and right after our 3 to 6, it's Action Sports Jacks OT with Casey Kurtz and Brian Middleton leading right into the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. So thanks for being with us here on a Wednesday as we have a little fun around the Dream18, around the sport of golf, and well, we want to relive some of your favorite rounds of golf, too, so you can always get involved. It's an interactive show, whether it's on social media, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. You can hashtag Dream18, and we'd love to hear from you about your favorite rounds of golf, and we'll share with you some of those along the way. It doesn't have to be just in Jacksonville. This could be anywhere all over the globe. Of course, we'll tell you about the podcast portion of the show coming up in a little bit. Jim Furyk is a name now that's synonymous with this area. Of course, he's a Pennsylvania guy, but he calls this area home. From Ponte Vedra to Jacksonville, he's lived in a couple of different spots. He's become a Jags fan, even though he still has those Pittsburgh Steelers roots. And he is one of the big names in golf history, really. He's one of the most successful players in golf history. He's 29-time winner. He's a U.S. Open winner. He's a Ryder Cupper, a President Cupper. He has had a 59 in a round, and he also had a 58 at TPC River Highlands in 2016 at the Travelers Championship. And that is where we debut this show and have our first guest. How about Jim Furyk and the best round in the history of the PGA Tour? That's a good place to start, Casey Kurtz.
Yeah, it's a very good place to start, and for the people following up, it's going to be a little tough, but we can figure it out from there. We still have some great guests lined up, but yeah, what a place to start with Jim Furyk. We start in this interview after the first hole. He makes a par on the first, but what you really want to hear about is the birdies, and there's a lot of them. So that's where we pick it up with Jim Furyk and our conversation with him on his Dream18.
You make a ho-hum par on the first hole and you make a birdie on the second hole. Okay, that's fine. But really the third hole is when things kick in a little bit and you have one of those fun moments, right?
Yeah. I hit it about 15 feet on one, missed it, which was, I really hadn't putted that well that week. And as you said, birdie 2, and hit a nice drive at 3 and then hold a wedge for eagle. So 3 under through 3, and always fun to see an iron shot go in the hole, and it kind of drew up some memories when I had shot. You mentioned earlier I shot 59 in 2013 in Chicago at Conway Farms. I hold an iron shot in that round too on the front 9, where kind of got it going early and made a bunch of birdies. And the fourth hole is probably the hardest hole on the golf course. The very next one, I hit a 4-iron about 4 feet. And 4 under through 4, so kind of got off to the races.
I was thinking about the hole out from 135 yards. The average golfer, amateur golfer, we do that like, wow, that was cool, that was memorable. I mean, how many times would you say you've holed out a wedge in your career, though? I mean, I'm not saying it's common. It's not a weekly occurrence, but you've probably done it quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't know. In my lifetime, a wedge from, say, outside of 80 yards, I don't know, 50 to 100 times, somewhere in there.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So, That's basically all I practice anymore, especially getting older. It's a lot less stress on your hands and body, and it's, we all like to practice stuff that we're good at, and that's kind of the strength of my game is that wedge game. So I hit a ton of those shots, and I guess if you hit a million of them, you give yourself a chance to make 50. How's that?
That's true. You're 4 under through 4 holes. You par the par 3 on the next hole, and then it starts. Then you get cooking because that's 7 birdies in a row, bridging the last 4 holes of the front and the early part of the back. And really, probably by the time you make the turn, you know something pretty good's going on. But what is that experience like for even a player like you who's had so many big moments, played a lot of fantastic golf, but when you make 7 in a row, man, that's got to be like an out-of-body type of experience.
It is. I think, when things like that happen, you're not really thinking about a streak or, wow, how many holes did I just birdie in a row? Or I didn't really think of it that way. I was just trying to put the ball out there and play, trying to hit an iron shot close and see a putt go in. But a lot of them were very short putts. I mean, 6 was a reachable 5 where I hit it up there about 20 feet from the pin, and I had a real easy little pitch shot that, I hit up there in almost tap-in range. 7, I almost hold an iron shot again with a 9-iron. I had to tap in from the foot. Made a nice putt at 8, tough par 3. I made about a 20-footer there. And then I almost hold an iron shot at 9 where I had to tap in again. I had it from a foot. So 8 under through 9. And, again, I'll go back to that round at Conway Farms. I shot the same thing there. I was 8 under on my first side and kind of making the turn. And on my way to 10, the media room's off to the right of the 9th green. And it's a place that I haven't visited very frequently, we'll say, at Hartford, because it's not a place I've really played a lot of great golf in my career. And on my way to 10, there was a lot of buzz. I mean, there was TV cameras heading to the 10th tee. There was a bunch of print media, which you don't usually see on the golf course, especially early on Sunday. A lot of guys from the print media run into the 10th tee. And a couple of them I know pretty well, being on tour for so long. And I was kind of joking with them on the way, saying, wow, something must be pretty good out here. Get your rear end out of that media room this early in the morning on Sunday. And, a couple of them gave me a little snicker like, ha. But kind of fun. You start to realize what's going on around you. And when I teed off on number 1 on Sunday, there was probably 5 people on the tee. By the time I got over there at 10, 11, 12, there was a buzz starting to pick up a gallery, television cameras. So there's a little bit more awareness of what's going on around you, and the moment starts to feel a little bit bigger.
When, like you said, you got to 10, like you just said with the media and all that, but you get to 10 and 11 and you make 2 putts over 15 feet for birdie. You said you weren't putting well all week. When you get going early, even though they're just tap-ins, does that get it to take the top off and you can just drain them, or were you reading the greens well, or just overall just hot as fire?
I think just a little hot as fire. When you start to see them going in, you start focusing on just hitting good putts. When you go out early and you miss 3, 4, 5 putts, say in the early part of the front 9, and they're not going in, you start focusing too much on trying to make a putt. You forget about the process. You forget about staying in your routine, just hitting good, solid putts. I mean, a lot of times when I've worked with Doc Rotella in the past, I mean, instead of trying to judge your day on whether or not the putts are going in, he wants you to judge yourself on how good a quality putt did you hit. If I went out there and I hit 10 good quality putts in 10 holes and only made a few, I'm still going to have a lot of confidence. If I went out there and hit a bunch of bad putts and made a couple of them, I'm not going to have a lot of confidence because I've seen a lot of bad putts, and I'm going to start focusing on the wrong thing. So I think seeing some putts going in early, it puts you in a good frame of mind. You start, you're hitting good putts, and you're only really focused on just let's keep hitting good putts and giving them a chance, and that's when they start going in.
I would imagine at this time in the round, you're like, do anything to get a wedge and a 9-iron in my hand. You had holed 1 already. You knocked another one to 2 feet. You knocked another one to 1 foot. And then on 12, you knocked another one to 4 feet, I think it was. So, I mean, get me to within 135 to 145 is probably your mentality at the time.
It is. And Hartford is a bit of a short golf course by tour standards. It's a place where if you put the ball in the fairway, you're going to have a lot of shots from 100, from 150 and in, and you're going to have kind of a green light to attack. And I hit every fairway that day by memory, and I believe I hit every green as well. So, but I was kind of in attack mode at that point, and also in a place in the tournament where really had nothing to lose. I mean, like I said, going out in 70th position, it's really after the birdies at 10, 11, 12 where things start to change, and you're fighting barriers at that time. You know, for the folks out there listening, when you're trying to break 90, when you're trying to break 80, when you're trying to break 70 for the first time, you start thinking about the score. You quit thinking about how you got there and why you've been playing so well at that point. And nothing really changes when you're trying to break a barrier like 60. The same thing happens. All the doubts, all the things that creep in your mind, you're really fighting yourself at that point rather than your golf game or the golf course.
Do you think a little bit more at this stage about those numbers and barriers because it's a par 70 golf course too, which puts that number in reach?
You do, but I think it's as you creep up. You know, the first one was the 59 was on a par 71, and I got there where I had to make a couple birdies in the last 4 holes, and I mean, you can't help but think about it. So you've got to. We're human. It's there, and so it's how you handle that situation. I tried to, in both instances, I tried to have a lot of fun with it, and I never really thought I'd get an opportunity on tour to break 60, and I've had a couple opportunities now to do it. So I really tried to enjoy the moment. And when you go out for a round on Sunday and you're in T70, usually you can fire a pretty low number and not really make a big jump on the field. You've already put yourself so far behind. So I went out kind of, you know, very free and firing at flags and trying to have some fun on that last round. And to keep that same mentality once you get it a bunch under par is very difficult. You know, it's real easy to kind of become defensive and to think about the score and change your mentality, just like folks out there trying to break, say, 80 for the first time. Well, if I could just par in, or if I could just make, you know, when you start putting numbers on it like that, your game changes and you start making mistakes. So for me, trying to keep that same mentality and firing at pins was key down the stretch.
And when you get to 13, you're making birdie, birdie, birdie. You're hot as fire. You come to the second par 5 on the golf course. And now, granted, par 5, I'd make like a 19, so not a big deal here. But I think most casual fans, when they look at a par 5 on the PGA Tour, they expect the professionals to make a birdie. You make a par, again, no shame. But is that one that, in the moment, did you have to like try to mentally not let it derail you because it is a par 5?
I had some friends giving me a hard time about it because I laid up on the hole. And guys actually saw the score up on the board, and there were caddies out there following my round. Like, well, Furyk drove it in the fairway on 13. He's got 235 to the hole. And then they said he laid up. And they were kind of giving me crap, like, how did you lay up from 235? And again, that's a tough drive. There's a lake on the right. There's trouble down the left-hand side. There's OB down the left, the lake on the right. It's I don't know, to me it's a little bit of an awkward looking drive, and I drove it perfect on the hole, but I knocked it right in the middle of the divot. So I had no opportunity to go for the green. There's a lake that kind of fronts the green. I laid it up to the right in a good spot. The pin's front was kind of middle left on the lake, and there's a little bank behind it, and I was trying to kind of hit it a little past the pin and draw it off that bank towards the hole, and I hit it too hard. I got it up on top the next tier and a little too far and left myself probably 25 feet for birdie. So not the best wedge shot, but maybe guarding a little bit from the water and not wanting to suck the ball back into the lake.
Yeah, and by the way, you know, the divot probably made your decision for you. If you're not in a divot, do you think you go for it?
Oh, we gotta go for it. It would have been like a 5-wood or a hybrid in there. Without a doubt, you go for it. Probably hang it out on the right side of the green a little bit and try to 2-putt from there.
Before we advance and finish this round of golf, you know, after now you're all these birdies in the first 12 holes especially and where you're at in this round. Do you remember anything else? You gave us a little insight about the media, and you saw people starting to pick up traction and the buzz. You could feel that, obviously. You've been out there long enough to know what that feels like. Is there anything else, a conversation with Fluff or something a fan said or maybe in your playing group that you remember from an image standpoint that day, or was it just pretty typical outside of the buzz that you were creating?
Pretty typical. I'm sure Fluff would give you Fluff would probably have some insight. I think playing, you kind of get sheltered in your own world and playing a good round and trying to stay focused. And, I guess I don't really see the periphery. I don't see a lot of the fans around me. I'll walk by friends on a golf course sometimes and never hear them or see them because I'm thinking about something in my game. And so playing a good round like that, I just kind of had my head down and in a little bit of my own world, trying to think about what it was going to take down the stretch. And I knew I had at that point I'm 11 under through 13. I've got 5 holes to go, and I'm sitting on the barrier. Basically I'm at 59 at that point. So anything I can do down the stretch, birdie-wise, is going to basically set the all-time record. So I know that, and I'm trying to focus. I said it before, you can't help but think about it, but I'm also trying to kind of put that in the back of my mind and focus on what it's going to take to continue to keep playing well.
I think what's crazy about this round, as good as it is and was, and how hot you got, I guess you just – at the end of the day, it's really hard to even maintain that kind of fire for 18 holes. Or was it the stretch from 14 to 18? You make one birdie, actually 13 to 18, to finish off this incredible round of 58. Do you feel like you left anything out there, or is that the stretch?
Yeah, I hit a really good putt on 14 that didn't go. I hit it about 15 feet left of the pin, had a little downhill left to right slider, and I hit a really good putt that I believe went over the top side of the hole. I wasn't disappointed with it, but I did hit a good putt. Now I thought halfway there it had a really good chance to go. 15's a drivable 4. I hit a beautiful drive. Pin was back left, and then I had it coming kind of from right center, drawing towards the pin. And the green's elevated, and the ball rolled up to the top fringe, kind of sat there for a second, and then backed up and came down the hill. And I had kind of a pitch and run probably from about 50 feet that I hit a little bit too hard, and it scooted about 8 feet by the hole, but I left myself kind of an inside left, maybe a little uphill putt, and I was walking it in. If you watch the tape, I took a step like I had knocked it in, and the putt went inside the left of the hole, and at 360 then came back right at me. And I just stopped in my tracks, and I remember thinking, well, I guess they're not all going to go in today. I mean, I missed one at 14. That one looked like it was dead center and spun out on me. And I felt like I left a little out there on 13, 14, 15 on a reachable 5, a good iron shot at 14 and a reachable 4. And I left those 3 holes at even par. But, you still have 16, 17, and 18 where a lot can happen. I mean, there's water on both 16 and 17, a couple dangerous holes. And then 18 just had given me fits all week. It was a hole that I struggled to get the ball in the fairway, and I hadn't played it very well. So at that point, just trying to collect myself and get ready to play the last 3.
I love the fact that you fire this unbelievable round, historic round, and you could actually make the case you got a little unlucky. You got the divot on the par 5, 13th, and then you get that lip out, that horseshoe with that putt. Now, you did make the putt 23 feet away on the 16th hole, so that gets you to 12 under. That's your last birdie of the day. Take us up 18, your mindset, as you're now at 58 and just trying to close it out at the very least.
Just trying to hit the fairway. It's a hole that if you hit the fairway, I knew the way it was playing that day, it was a little down breeze. Playing kind of short. I was going to get a mid-iron, short iron in my hand, but I hadn't hit the fairway all week. And if you watch the tape, it's the only time in my life I think I've ever fist pumped after a drive. I hit the drive down the right center, exactly where you want it. In mid-air, I knew it was perfect, and I went down to pick up my tee. It was kind of a fist pump, like I got it, just knowing I had now kind of the green light to try to make birdie, par to shoot 57 or 58, and didn't quite hit my best iron shot. It wasn't bad, but I hit a 9-iron 20 feet short right of the pin, had it straight uphill, right to left, and more shockingly, I guess in that situation, I was definitely nervous. It was like trying to win a tournament. The putter starts to feel light in your hands. I was tight over the putt. I mean, I felt like I had a pretty good read on it. And usually in situations like that, it's hard to get your speed correct, match up the line and the speed and get the putt to the hole. You'll see a lot of guys leave the putt short or kind of hit it weak and then tap it in. And I hit a really good solid putt. I was actually pretty proud. I knocked it about a foot, 15 inches by the hole. Had it on a pretty good line, missed it on the high side, and I kind of just you also see I kind of shrugged like, wow, I got it to the hole and hit a good putt, and then from there didn't really have much of a concern. It was short enough that the tap in was pretty easy.
I love that you told us you were nervous. I was about to ask you that. It felt like you're in contention, right? I mean, it felt like you're in the U.S. Open. I mean, you've been in nervous spots, man, but it kind of has that feeling.
Yeah, but I think we get nervous on the first tee as well. We get nervous sitting on leads, big putts to win. I mean, guys are nervous. It's really that's not the point. I think the more often you put yourself there, the less nervous you get. But I think the more prepared you are to handle that moment, and it's how you handle those nerves and how you use that nervous energy and try to channel it in a positive way. That's the guys that are able to do that are the ones that are more successful in those situations.
Jim Furyk on the best round in the history of the PGA Tour, the lowest score, a 58 at TPC River Highlands. That's how we kick off our new Dream18 show, sponsored by Florida Georgia Windows and Doors. We are live at Divoli's House of Cards, by the way. 3 o'clock, we have Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690 coming up. Brent Martineau, Casey Kurtz, as we debut a Wednesday full of shows now here that starts at 2 o'clock, at least for the next 12 weeks with this Dream18 show. And again, hashtag Dream18. Let us know your favorite rounds. We have some comments coming in. We'll get to them coming up in the last segment of the show. But what a round of golf. And I can't get over the fact, Casey, that the 9 irons he hit were a hole out, 1 foot to almost hole out another, a 2-foot approach shot, and a 4-foot approach shot. And then he had the horseshoe, which is like the most unlucky putt you can get.
Right.
Or he would have even had a real good chance to shoot 57 at TPC River Highlands.
Yeah, it's crazy that you just heard it, but there was a couple of situations where it could have been a lot lower for him. So I think it's just incredible, and I think it's just a weird thing where in golf, to your point, you get the right club in your hand and you're just on with it. Like 9 iron is a club that, like, one of the clubs that I usually can feel good about. But when I say good about, I mean it goes in the air and straight. He was putting it 1 foot from the pin, so it's a little bit different. But I think it's just a cool thing when you get to the opportunity where it's like, I just need this club and I can do something special. And he did pretty much all that day.
I think that's a fun part of the show. You'll relate to some things along the way, and then you won't be able to relate to some things. And I don't think many of us will be able to relate to that kind of round that Jim Furyk had. So to get it in his own words was a lot of fun. And by the way, we have more of our interview with Jim Furyk about that round, about that day. And, well, he had planned to get home at night because he knew he was playing early. And part of the conversation, Casey, was, hey, let's just get this round over with, and so I can get home to the family and have dinner with them, take the private jet. Well, that got derailed a little bit because of this performance, and he ended up not going back home to Northeast Florida. He ended up in a different place. You can hear more about that on the podcast, and tell everybody a little bit more about the podcast, the Dream18 podcast, that will also come out in the next couple of days.
Yeah, so there's a lot more to the conversation. You just heard the golf part of it, but to Brent's point, you will hear that part of it. There's a little bit before and how he got into the round. He was almost late to his tee time. You can hear about that. And then there was a situation where a wrong scorecard was almost signed. So there's a whole lot more to this conversation. So what we're going to do is we're going to release the entire thing in podcast form so you can hear everything you just heard along with the parts you didn't hear. We think we're going to release that on Saturday morning. You'll be able to get it wherever you get your podcast. You'll just search Dream18 when that comes up. We'll also tweet it out. Brent will tweet it out. I'll tweet it out. And on the new Twitter at Dream18 Show. So you can find it in any of those places, but I promise there's a lot more to the conversation that you'll want to hear because it's more things that you can relate to. Being late to a tee time, I can relate to that. Not practicing a ton, also can relate. So those are things that you're going to want to hear in the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll have the podcast form, which will give you a little bit of extra from that interview with Jim Furyk. We appreciate his time, and do want to mention also in the podcast form you can learn more about the Furyk and Friends and what Jim and Tabitha Furyk have done for the community here in Jacksonville, and they continue to do it. Now Jim hosts a Champions Tour event at Timuquana Country Club, and more on that as well. So a little bit more with Jim than just about that incredible round at TPC River Highlands. Let's take a break. When we come back, we will put a bow on this show. Get ready for the 3 to 6 edition of Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690. A couple of comments from some folks that have jumped in on their favorite rounds of golf. And this week, the PGA Tour stops in a place where Jim Furyk has already won a couple of times on tour. Remember, when he shot the 58, he didn't win that day. He was playing from way back, but he jumped all the way into the top 5. Believe it or not. We'll be right back. Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690. It's the new Dream18 show, sponsored by Florida Georgia Windows and Doors.
What's up? It's Casey. Check out the podcast Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690, wherever you get your podcast, to make sure you don't miss moments like this.
Word is you have a new nickname around this place.
Sure do, Brent. Because you know
Or do
how
you like it? Nicknames are good sometimes.
Yeah. Well, so you know, like how when it's your birthday coming up, which it's my birthday month or whatever, like they kind of give you a little heads up. And I appreciate all the work that they do and everything. But when they say November birthdays and it's Austin Lane and this must be Thanksgiving themed, AKA free range hot buns. you guys like that? Is that good for you?
Here at Total Wine & More, you'll find what you love and love what you find.
I'm looking for a whiskey that will blow my buddies away.
This single barrel bourbon is a surefire hit.
Oh, yeah. Whoa, did you hear that? I feel like a rock star.
Well, finding this bottle at that price, you totally are. Find what you love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More. Pickup and delivery available at TotalWine.com. Drink responsibly. B21.
Let's add a little red right there. Hey, we'll be right with you.
For Bianca's flower shop, spring orders and Mother's Day are a tricky arrangement.
Hey, can I get help repotting this fiddle leaf?
She needs to put the pedal to the metal and find more florists.
We're running low on daisies. How does that even happen?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Florida Georgia Windows and Doors is your home improvement specialist. They specialize in hurricane protections, vinyl siding, sunrooms, and, of course, windows and doors. If you live in the Jacksonville or the wider Northeast Florida area and South Georgia areas, give Florida Georgia Windows and Doors a call for your next project. 904-641-7010. 904-641-7010. Florida Georgia Windows and Doors, the highest quality materials and installation around. Florida Georgia Windows and Doors, your home improvement specialists.
Voted best gift of the year for golfers by the ESPN 690 Golf Enthusiast Review Board. Want to make the golfer in your life love you even more? Order the 2022 ESPN Dream18 card for just $69. Big discounts on golf all year. Golf courses are raising their rates with the recent boom. The Dream18 card has even more value now. For less than dinner for two at your favorite upscale restaurant, you will receive tremendously discounted rounds at some of the area's best golf courses. Golf Club at Southampton, St. John's Golf and Country Club, Hidden Hills, Osprey Cove, the Yards added this year, Amelia River Golf Club, Eagle Landing, Fleming Island Golf Club, and Queens Harbor Yacht and Country Club. Plus, you'll receive a free smoothie from Smoothie King, a free hat from Dome Hats, a free shirt at Baker's Sports, and a discount on a purchase at Palm Beach Autographs. Play 2 rounds of golf, and the card pays for itself. $69, that's it. Some of the proceeds go to the Dream18 charity as well. Buy the card at ActionSportsShacks-Dream18.com. Supplies are limited. Go to ActionSportsShacks-Dream18.com.
Our friends over at Arlington Toyota want to know, what drives you? How about great service? Or what about getting more with your purchase? Then prepare yourself for the drive of a lifetime when you buy from Arlington Toyota. Arlington has over 500 new Toyotas available with inventory arriving daily. You also get a lifetime warranty with your purchase, plus 30 days to love your new purchase or exchange it. What drives you is what they do at Arlington Toyota. Shop in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com.
Hey, I'm Carrie.
And I'm Bruce. We're the owners of Koala Insulation. Don't let the milder temperatures lull you into complacency. Fuel prices will continue to rise, as will your utility bills. Call us today and take advantage of our fall prices. We don't quote over the phone or just poke our heads up in your attic. We do a full evaluation to include attic ventilation needs as well as insulation.
Give us a call at 904-679-6282 or online at koalainsulation.com.
Plenty of local golf events on the horizon for the North Florida Junior Golf Foundation. Find out all the information and a schedule at their website, nfjg.org. April 24th, the $1 Million Championship at Deer Creek. Just a week later, the Titleist Open at Marsh Landing. You can still register. A week after that, the Florida Coast Cup at World Golf Village. Registration for those two events are still open on the website. See the entire schedule and find out about the North Florida Junior Golf Foundation at nfjg.org.
Here at Total Wine & More, you'll find what you love and love what you find.
I'm looking for a whiskey that will blow my buddies away.
This single barrel bourbon is a surefire hit.
Oh, yeah. Whoa, did you hear that? I feel like a rock star.
Well, finding this bottle at that price, you totally are. Find what you love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More. Pickup and delivery available at TotalWine.com. Drink responsibly. B21.
The NFL is on. Key, Jay, and now Max Kellerman.
Here's a guy that you drafted in the first round that you think could potentially be the successor to Aaron Rodgers in the future, but could he at least be a damn backup?
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2.
Hey, welcome back. We're at Tivoli's House of Cards. Get ready for a 3 to 6 show. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690, followed by Action Sports Jacks OT with Casey Kurtz, Brian Middleton, followed by the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. What a lineup we have today. We debut a show. We're on early because each and every Wednesday for the next few months, we'll have the Dream18 show sponsored by Florida Georgia Windows and Doors. And part of this show, we just talked to Jim Furyk. You can see more of it or listen to more of it on the podcast that will be unveiled this weekend. Just search Dream18 wherever you get your podcasts. But part of this is we want your feedback. What's your favorite round of golf? It's a simple question, right? What is your favorite? Doesn't have to be your best score. Maybe it's the place you played. Well, Dom says Augusta National, probably about 2009 or so. Birdied 3 of the last 4 holes. Shot a 1 under 34 on the back for a 74. It was +3. Still my best round ever by 3 shots.
Nice.
That's pretty cool and a really good round. Jackson DeVillen says, my favorite's probably our first real round of golf. 6 months after our first lesson, my son and I played 7 Canyons Country Club in Sedona, Arizona. The scenery was great, as was the course, and he shared a picture, and it's very cool. So send them in, hashtag Dream18. Next week, our guest is going to be a caddy, Paul Tesori, who's actually from the Jacksonville area, caddies for Webb Simpson, and he talks about a round at the Players' Championship a few years ago.
So early on in Webb's career, let's just say, kind of our 1.0, so the first 2 to 3 years, I was doing a lot. I was really jumping in a lot, being very, kind of adamant about my thoughts, my decisions, my clubs that I thought Webb needed to use. We had about a 2 to 3 year stretch there where I think there was a little bit of strife between us because I think he was growing as a player, growing in confidence, growing in knowledge, growing in wisdom, and I was still being the same caddy. So we kind of had a little bit more battle, a little bit more grind there between us too often. And then finally realizing kind of in this last little half of his career, and especially 2018 the Players, kind of a lot less work from me, a lot less, club changing by me. I'd say at the time still probably 2 to 4 times around where maybe you disagree about a club, but basically what I'll do is I'll get his opinion on it. And if it makes sense to me and I know that he's not bringing trouble into play, I'd let him go. And so I just remember number 7, earlier in his career, he would have tried to smash something. And I always believed out of fairway bunkers, you try to choke up a little bit, try to kind of have dead legs so you don't want to hit anything hard. And so by that time, he had already figured that out. He hit something, a little bit softer, a little bit more chippy, kind of taking the legs out of the shot. But he had already learned that by then. So a lot less of that kind of club changing by the time 2018 came around.
And that's part of the conversation that I was interested in terms of how the caddy-player relationship works out. I imagine there's some times where you don't agree, so that's what that question was. A whole lot more of that. It's an intriguing conversation. We got that for you next week. This week, though, we have the Power Tee picks of the week for fantasy golf, the RBC Heritage. It's pretty straightforward. A guy like Webb Simpson has won here in 2020. Stuart Sink last year, CT Pan, Wesley Bryan. What do all those people have in common? I won't wait for it because I don't have time, but they're great on approach and they're great on the green. So you want guys that are going to putt and play on approach. In fantasy, they're going to be expensive. Shane Lowry, Corey Connors, Daniel Berger. Those are 3 guys I'm locked on. Webb Simpson is another guy, isn't playing great right now, but obviously he fits that mold. So those are guys I'm looking at in the top tier. Adam Hadwin, as you keep going, is a guy I'm interested in. Troy Merritt, another one. And in the extreme value plays, give me Doc Redman. Hasn't been super hot, needs to get going, but all of those things check out with those players for this week at the RBC Heritage for your Power T picks of the week, Brent.
All right, Casey knows it very well, so listen in to Casey. And also you can listen in to Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690 coming up in the next few hours, and we will make our golf pick winner of the week on that show as well. This has been fun. We debut show of the Dream18 show, sponsored by Florida Georgia Windows and Doors. We appreciate Jim Furyk for his time and reliving that special round, that 58 at TPC River Highlands. Next week it's Paul Tesori about a special round caddying for Webb Simpson at the Players' Championship. By the way, Jim has won the RBC Heritage a couple of times. And don't forget this weekend to go check out the podcast. Look up Dream18 for more of our interview with Jim. So there is more there that you didn't hear today. Hashtag Dream18 to share your favorite rounds. We'll mention them on the show each and every week as well. And that will do it here for a Wednesday edition of the Dream18 show. For Casey Kurtz, I'm Brent Martineau. Austin Lane joins us from Davoli's House of Cards coming up right after this for Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690. It's next. Cam Robinson is going to be a Jacksonville Jaguar. He signs his deal. That's the big story of the day. We talk about it and how it impacts the draft. Coming up next.
A proud sponsor of the Dream18 is Power Tee. Get at them at PowerTee.com because they make golf better. They provide an incredible